Welcome back. Now we're joined by Florida mom and senior director with Moms for America, Quisha King. Quisha, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
This is such an important issue. You know, as a mom of five, parental rights is very near and dear to my heart. What was going on in Florida that really precipitated not just this new parental rights of education bill, but also the parental bill of rights that passed even the year before?
So, we have had a lot of instances where parents were being completely kept out of the loop of what was going on with our children. For instance, there's a mom, January Littlejohn. She testified at while the bill was being debated. Her child was being transitioned to another gender, and she had no idea. Um, she was being told that the child was being told that she was going to, be able to room with boys on field trips. And this is a mother who was very involved in their child's education. She knew, that she was involved with the PTA. She was, the guidance counselors knew, everybody knew who she was and was totally kept out of the loop. My own child was asked what pronoun she wanted to go by first week of eighth grade. And my daughter has not ever expressed any interest in anything like that. So these ideas were being presented to children, and parents having no idea. My daughter was the one that, came to me and said, Mama, why is my teacher asking me this? And so those are just two examples, but this is happening all across Florida. And there were actual bills that go under the guise of protecting, under the guise of parental support possibly not being there, meaning your parents may not support what you're doing, but
Right.
I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. You cannot transition my child. You're not you're not a certified mental health person, and you are dealing with the mental health of our children. And our children they're minors. They cannot consent to these things. So on so many levels, it was just wrong.
Yeah, I could see why parents would be up in arms. You know, you send them to school to learn math and science and, read and writing, not to find out that they've been, going in for counseling sessions or perhaps even more than that and other healthcare procedures without even you knowing. That would be definitely very shocking. So the Parental Bill of Rights passed in 2021, and now we have the Parents' Rights in Education. Now, I know last year in 2021, Governor DeSantis, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he banned the teaching of CRT, the
Correct.
critical race theory. But this was still even being taught in schools. And before this new parental rights and education bill was passed, what recourse was there for parents who said, "Why are you teaching this? It's been banned"?
There wasn't much. Now there is some teeth to the bill where we can actually sue if we find out, obviously through diligence and making sure that there are legitimate claims. We don't want to come after teachers who aren't really doing this. But now we can actually have some legal recourse if we find out that these things are being taught to our children behind their back. I mean, they are essentially teaching children to be racist. They are teaching them to judge other people, other kids by their skin color. They are calling, white kids, if you're white, you're automatically a white supremacist. Minority children, you're automatically oppressed. I mean, we've dealt with this in America years ago. We already know how that story ends, and that is not something that parents want. Here in Duval County, where I live, we had a segregated school assembly at one of the high schools here, and parents
Really?
were just, yes, parents were mortified. The Black children were to meet at 9:30 a.m. and the white kids were to meet at 10. And it's like, okay, well, what about all the rest of the kids, the biracial children and the Asian, it's just it's such a regression of where America has come. And it's quite shocking. I think that's why people can't believe it sometimes. They're like, no, that's not happening, because it's shocking to think that something like that would actually occur
Well,
today.
it's shocking for me as a Canadian hearing about this. So why would a school do that? Why would they segregate children like that?
It's this idea that it's a critical race theory. It's an outworking of critical race theory, thinking that, if you are white, you are an oppressor, and if you are Black, that you're oppressed, and minorities need their own spaces and their own voices to be lifted up. It's
Got
an
it.
outworking of critical race theory. And so these diversity, equity, and inclusion consultants come into our schools who are hired and paid very well to push this nonsense on our kids. And many times parents had no clue that this was going on.
My goodness, this seems a lot to handle for parents who usually are just busy working their, one, maybe even two jobs, trying to keep food on the table, a roof over everybody's heads, and then to deal with this battle at the school board level is quite surprising. We're going to pick up this discussion in just a few moments.